ago, I think all of us struggle with time management. And I'm here today to really talk about the 9 most dangerous words in time management. And they are, let me put that on my to-do list. I am always amazed at how many things I write down and put on a to-do list and how few of them I complete. So it's now about 3 minutes after, and I would like to go ahead and get started. If you're new to Zoom, if you move your mouse, you will see a bar at the bottom come up. In that, you will see a button that says chat. If you would like to chat, please just click on chat. John Arnold is the Chief Inspiration Officer of the 7-Minute Life, and he's going to be chatting with you today. And if you like this, make sure that you tell your friends, because we're going to have another class just like this at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to go ahead and get started. PowerPoint is my friend. Oh yeah, there you go. I want to make sure that when we start this that you can see that. Pam, can you see that on screen? Full screen? No. Nope. Lost it. You lost it. Okay, I need to know if people... Okay, so now it's back. Now it's back. Okay, so you can see the 9 most dangerous words in time management. Full screen, Pam? Mm-hmm. All right. That's me. The nine most dangerous words in time management, or let me put that on my to-do list. It is really frightening how much stress that puts on people. A to-do list that you come in with and are unable to finish is really painful. So let me tell you what we're going to be doing today. We're going to talk about what a to-do list is and what the problems are. And as we get started, for those of you that don't know me, I am the founder of the 7-Minute Life. We're a time management company, and I do speaking, training, coaching, and I love teaching webinars. We have hundreds of people that signed up for this, and I just announced it yesterday. That's a picture of me, and I've been the author of 3 time management books. The 7-Minute Difference, the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner is our most used time management tool, and the 7-Minute Solution goes into the pieces of the 7-Minute Life that are more about priorities and purpose and how they interact with what you do. And as I was preparing for this class, I thought, how can I put it rather than how to fix your to-do list or what's the problem with a to-do list? I think we all say to people every day, we walk in and they say, oh, I need you to do this. And you think to yourself somehow mentally, let me take a pen and write it down and put it on my to-do list. But it's just one of millions of things that are either on your to-do list now or have been on your to-do list in the past, and you haven't been able to get them done. To-do lists are that thing that causes you stress and anxiety and makes life pretty miserable. The outline that we're going to cover today is what is a to-do list. It is a very important, in fact, it's probably the key element to creating time management, because you have to know what you need to do in order to have time management. We have this frame of 24 hours, and typically we're at the office 8, 9, 10 hours, and we need to know what we should accomplish within that period of time while we're at the office. But there's a problem with your to-do list, and we're going to go into that in quite a bit of depth. If you're taking notes, I'd like you to write down, when you write down a to-do, is it a label or is it something you can take action on? Is it simply something that's written down on a piece of paper, or is it actionable? That's where we're really going to come into it, is that so often we write things down, but they're merely names or labels of things we want to do, but they are not actionable. And where this gets exciting is that we're going to solve this problem. If you hang on with us to the end, we're not just going to tell you what it is or the problem. We're going to tell you how to fix it by creating an actual plan of action. Creating not a to-do list, part of it will be prepping your to-do list, but how to take that and create action where at the end of the day, you get to enough. So we're going to start out with what is a to-do list. And I'm hoping that you have a piece of paper, and I'd like you to write down just 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 things that you need to get done today. Let's make this real. And as you do that, if you will, let's put them in the chat as well, so that I can see what you're saying. Let's see if I can see the chat. All right, if everyone will put into the chat and write down some of the things that they need to do today. I am looking at the chat. What are some things that are typical that you might have on a to-do list? I want to make sure people are putting things in. We're seeing messages come in. There's 3 more messages. Wow, they're coming in so fast. Prospecting, promoting training, completing contracts X, Y, and Z. Come on, keep putting them in. Notify items, reports and training, update insurance contracts, 3rd quarter call list, work on teachers' gifts, encourage key leaders. Wow, we're getting a lot. Keep them coming. This is exactly what I want to see. Call clients, exercise, shower. That was me this morning. Press release. Well, John, are you getting all this? I am amazed at how many things. There you go, John. Yes. All right, let's take a few minutes. Really, keep them typing in. Ooh, develop questions for HIPAA survey. Bless your heart, Marty. Processing different things, grocery shopping. Okay, a few more things. Ooh, work on budget breakdowns. Change the oil in my car. I did that last week. All right, so really, hey, thanks for reminding me. Father's Day presents. Pam's over here shaking her head. Hey, Pam, will you write down that I need to get a gift for my dad? What a great reminder. Okay, so if you will, just take a few seconds more, maybe 60 seconds more, to write down these type of things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that would go on a typical to-do list. I want this webinar to be more than just a listen. I want it to be something you can, see, touch, take action with. I think it's really important to participate, and so this is going to be something that I hope will make sense to you. Now, I've just created this to-do list last night. I will be putting it up on our website because I do think that timing and time management begins with writing down all of the things that you need to do. And I think then it becomes important to prioritize those things, which you've heard all along. I want to do this first, and this second, and this third. So I appreciate you taking the time to begin to answer these questions. Now, I did this last night. Let me get a sip of water. And created a handwritten to-do list. I tried to write neatly. But this would be something that is typical of what I might have to do. Pick up the dry cleaning, start on our 2017 marketing budget, and have a staff meeting at 11 o'clock, which John and I got on the phone, and Pam with our little staff meeting, and got prepared for this. Clean out my email, which is terrible. I need to look for receipts from a meeting I had. I needed to call John, which I've done. I actually need to pick up milk, overnight a package, review expense reports, and draft a proposal. If you will, look at that list and see if it's somewhat similar to what you might have, just a yes or no in the chat. This is kind of a standard date, but there are problems with this. Great, I appreciate y'all participating in this. And a lot of times it's longer than that, but here's what the problem is and why you use a to-do list. A to-do list is there so you won't forget something. It's not that you don't know what to do, but we create these to-do lists so that we don't have to use our mind and all that space to remember what we have to do. Post-it notes are obviously dangerous. Sticky notes, they are things that I use all the time. I put them on my front door. So if you're from 3M, I love Post-it notes, don't get me wrong. But they're dangerous for me because I'll put them someplace and I don't remember why. And here's what a to-do list is for. The human brain has a very short memory. In fact, short-term memory lasts just within 5 seconds to 20 seconds. So when you're in the morning, and actually keep a notepad and a pen in my bathroom, which I think is a really good idea, but when you're sitting someplace and you think of something, if you don't write it down within 5 to 20 seconds, it is exactly like this dry erase board. And whatever you have in your mind will be swept away within 20 seconds. And it could be something that you really need to do, but because there's so many things swirling around you, if you don't write it down, it is gone. And that's one of the things I think we fear and why we use to-do lists, and they are a critical part of time management. But we call them peripheral brains. Because the human brain has such a low capacity to remember things, we have to rely on peripheral brains. And you ask, well, what is that? A peripheral brain, the one we know best, is a to-do list. What this does is it takes it out of your brain and puts it on a physical piece of paper. So once you've written it down, you don't have to worry about it anymore. Your brain doesn't have to remember that you need to do something. You just write it down and you look at your list. But there are other peripheral brains that we rely on. We write things down on calendars, or we put them in our smartphone. We rely on sticky notes. We put alarms in our phones so we don't even forget to do something that's on our to-do list. One of the biggest problems people have is that they use old emails as a to-do list, and they stack up one on the other and the other, and you feel like you have to do them or you would have deleted them. But all of a sudden you now have hundreds of old emails. You leave voicemails on your phone so you won't forget to return the voicemails. And people also even put rubber bands on their wrist. We have to use peripheral brains to manage our time. I love that term because the human brain is irresponsible. It is not reliable to help you manage your time. It is not capable of keeping up, and your life wants order. That's why time management is so important. When you walk into a day, you want to have a clear vision of what you're going to accomplish so you can have order in your life and have a lot less stress and anxiety. But a to-do list does not do that for you. So what's the problem with a to-do list? Now, I'd shown you the to-do list that I had, but here's the problem. In the evening, I start out with a to-do list, and I really do put things on paper. Before I even leave the house, I've now taken a note that I'm supposed to meet someone at Starbucks, and I have their number written down in case, because they've just called me in the morning, so I write it on my to-do list. Now, I want to know, do other people do this? They have a to-do list, but all of a sudden now it's a notepad because you're adding things to your list that weren't on there earlier. Anybody? I'm looking at the chat. Oh, come on. Absolutely. Okay, but here's the big problem is by the end of the day, it looks like this. And I want to know how you feel at the end of the day when your to-do list looks something like this. I'm describing your life. You are looking at my notebook. How real is this? I love the chat. Exhausted. You know, this is reality. And that's why we're here today. The 9 most dangerous words in time management are, oh, let me put that on my to-do list. Let me put that on my to-do list. You can look at this. At 11 o'clock, I took notes that went on my to-do list. At the very bottom of this, talk to Ann about the order. Email the invoices that are due next Monday. I doodle on my to-do list when I'm sitting in meetings. I'm not doodling right now, but I doodle on my to-do list. Now, here's where I can see people are laughing at me. I put down what I'm supposed to get for lunch. I think about things that aren't even on my to-do list. For example, we're updating our website. I need to know what we're going to do annually, quarterly. I need to look at search engine optimization up at the top right. We've had trouble with our site speed. I want analytics. We're having thousands of people coming to our website, and we have a broken link. That isn't even on my to-do list. It's not something I'm going to do. I just don't want to forget that I need to do it. So where does the problem come in? At the end of the day, I have shown check marks of what I actually accomplished. Did I pick up the dry cleaning? Yes. Did I attend the staff meeting at 11? Yes. I get a check mark. Did I call John? Yes. Did I pick up the milk? Yes. Did I overnight the package? Yes. Every time you put a check mark on a to-do list, dopamine and all these types of wonderful endorphins are released into your body. And as silly as it sounds, a check mark is something that will move you through time more quickly than you've ever imagined. But the opposite is also true. When you look at this list and you see that the number one thing, other than picking up the dry cleaning, that you really needed to do was start the 2017 marketing budget, and now it's 5 o'clock and you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even get started on that. So you take your pen and you start circling the thing that is got to be done, and you write there, tomorrow, first thing tomorrow. The problem with this, when you created your to-do list, you had made a mental commitment to accomplish all of these things. And at 5, 6, or 7 o'clock, when you go home and you have 5 of them that have not been done, you have just broken a promise to yourself. And when you break promises to yourself, mentally, physically, however that happens, the physical reaction to breaking those promises with yourself are what I'm seeing here: exhaustion, anxiety, stress, bad relationships, lack of sleep, physically not eating right, not having time to exercise, and playing that oh my game. The oh my game is, oh my, if I were just more organized, if I was smarter, the if I, and we never get out of that. And so what were the things that did not happen on this to-do list? I didn't clean out my email, and every time I open my inbox, it overwhelms me. Even if I don't think it's overwhelming me, just that split second of seeing thousands of emails in there make me wonder, how many to-dos do I have in there that I haven't looked at in a year? What about reviewing the expense report? Really important. What if you have to make a draft proposal? I had a call in today from a client that called out of the blue, and they want me to speak at an event. At 2:30, I have to create the draft proposal. She's already said, I want to do this, but I'm going to call her back at 2:30 and go through a checklist of everything I need for all of the logistics to host this speaking event. It's going to be July 21st. I'm really excited about it. But if I don't have that, create the proposal, what's the fee that we're going to charge? What are the logistics? How many people? Have I done that? No, I will do that. But as you look at this to-do list, and I can see it from the chat, this is painful, and that's a problem. Again, I ask you to write down, is your to-do list a label or an action? This is the most important thing we're going to talk about today. I believe that what we try to do at the 7-Minute Life is share ideas that have never been thought of before. You hear all this stuff, write down your to-do list, prioritize it, set time along, block your time. Well, that's not a reality. You can block all the time in the world on a schedule. But as soon as your phone rings and it's an emergency from your boss, or as soon as something breaks, or as soon as you remember, oh my goodness, I didn't do that yesterday, there is no time blocking. It's just not true. But what's the difference between a label on a to-do list and an action? Now, I hope I've gotten your attention. I'm going to take a sip of water and make you wait. I feel like I'm on the 10 o'clock news, but after the commercial. So let me take a sip of water. Is it a label or an action? What does that really mean? I took my calendar yesterday and deleted everything on it, and I use a Google Calendar. And I put on just the one thing, the staff meeting at 11. Pam came over and was helping me with this. John came over. And even though that's all I had on my to-do list, this is a label. And what happens to people is every morning when you get up, you pull out your smartphone, you click on your calendar, and you see labels. I want you to write that down. What you have written down on your calendar is a label. So even though I had a to-do list that I didn't have on my calendar as labels, these to-dos are not actionable. They're projects. For example, let me go back and look at this. I'd like you to kind of take note of this. An action is something you can do within 20 minutes. The human attention span is somewhere between 2 seconds and 20 minutes. That's it. That's all you've got is that focus. And with a to-do, not only are you trying to focus, but you're constantly getting interrupted from the text messages, the emails, the things that you think about when you're doing it. If something on your to-do list takes more than 20 minutes, it can't be done. You can't take action on it. So let's look at pick up the dry cleaning. That's actually something, that's actually something you can take action on, but it's going to take more than 20 minutes. It just doesn't take up your attention. If you leave your office, drive to the dry cleaning place, and come back to your office, it's probably going to take 45 minutes to an hour. But pick up dry cleaning is an action. This is where it starts to get really serious, and how this class is going to help you and change everything you do about your time management. And I want you to hang with us, because at the end of this, I'm going to give away things that are really the solution to helping you plan out your day. But let's look at Start 2017 Marketing Budget. First of all, when I come back to this, it wasn't even a label on my calendar. So how big of a commitment had I made? It was the biggest thing that I had to do. It wasn't even on my smartphone. But even more problematic is that Start 2017 Marketing Budget is not something you can do. You can't drive to the marketing budget, pick it up, and bring it home. It's not an action. It's a label that's on your to-do list. And in my case, the marketing plan wasn't even on my smartphone. So when you look at labels that are on your calendar that are not actionable, you have to then break them into projects. Now, go back and look at your to-do list. How many of these things are actually projects, and how many of them are actionable? Now, I'm going to try something new. I have my mouse. If I blow us out, we will come back. At the bottom of PowerPoint, there's this little pen, and it says pen. So I'm going to see if this works. If not, I'll reboot. All right, so I'm going to come up here and pick up dry cleaning. That's something I can actually do. It will probably take me 45 minutes, not just the 15. Start marketing budget is not, there we go. It's not something I can do. It is actually a project. And what you would have to do, the marketing budget, is you'd have to come over here and create a plan. That's the first thing that you have to do. You have to decide step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Then you have to begin to create a priority list for that. Who's going to be involved, what you need, when you need to have it done. So all of those things happen. When you walk into the office and you say, I need to start the marketing budget, you have no idea what that means. It is not something you can do. It's a project that you have to first plan for. The staff meeting, I can do that. Clean out email. Well, that's kind of crazy. I can't clean out my email. There are thousands of them. Can I look for receipts? Yes. Can I call John? Yes. Can I go get the milk? Yes. Can I overnight the package? Yes. But I can't review, y'all get it. I can't review the expense report. It's also a project. In order to do that, I would first have to find the receipts. I would have to find the spreadsheet. I'd have to set aside time. to actually review it. Review is something I can do. I can look at it. Same thing is true here. I can't just draft a proposal. It is a project, not an action. I really want you to think, oh, you work at a dry cleaners. I really want you to think about the difference between something you can take action on and something that's a project. When you look at this to-do list, the things that I completed were things that I could take action on. I could do them. I want you to look at the to-do list that you wrote down and begin to say, is this something I can take action on, or is it a project? And I'd like you in the chat to put how many things on your list were actions, and now understanding that many things on a to-do list are not actionable, that they're projects that have to be further broken down. How many of those things were actionable? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how many things on your to-do list were projects? Let me see it in the chat. How many were actions and how many were projects? Two of 5. Again, I'm looking in the chat. Tell me what your thoughts are about that in the chat. Is it a problem to have a to-do list that you can't do? I think that was the revelation that I had of why I wanted to teach this. What are the 9 most dangerous words in time management? Let me put that on a to-do list, because a to-do list needs to be able to be done. And what I write down are projects that either I want to do or other people impose on me. Projects. So how do you solve that? Rather than use a to-do list as your final guide, you must create a to-do list. There's no doubt about it. You have to somehow take things out of your mind and put them into a simple, quick, written format. If you remember, the brain says, oh, don't forget to do this. And you have 5 seconds to 20 seconds for something in short-term memory before, like a dry erase board, that thought of what you need to do is gone. That's where you begin. What we would encourage you to do is to take 7 minutes in the evening. And let me back up and share why. Rather than just putting together your to-do list, what would happen if instead, and I'm going to try to write again, if instead you did what we call, come on, the 7-minute process. Why is that important? There are 24 hours in a day. There are 1,440 minutes. It is inside this 1,440 minutes that you need to get things on your to-do list and move them to done. This is the only amount of time you have. There are 24 hours in a day. That's 1,440 minutes. You have 1,440 minutes to move everything on your to-do list that day to done. So why 7 minutes? 1% of your time is 14 minutes. We ask people to take 7 minutes in the evening. Well, y'all get it, evening. Okay, so Pam's over here laughing at me. In the evening, to do nothing more than think. The list that we create, we wake up and we write down random things. And I assure you that my handwriting doesn't usually look at this. It usually looks like pick up, dry cleaning. And one of the problems I have is I look at my to-do list, I can't even read what I put on there because it's so random. But if I were to come down and take 1% of my time to think, I could create a legible to-do list at least. So let's go back. When you have your to-do list, by taking 7 minutes to create it, you can then create it. And now that you know there's a difference between a label and an action, you can review this list and begin to write down what's one. This is something I can take action on. This is a project. This is an action. This is a project. This is an action. This is an action. This is an action. This is an action. This is a project. This is a project. So in the evening, you can write down everything. You can take everything out of your mind, take 1% of your time to create a to-do list, but then take that to-do list and make it realistic. If it's on your to-do list, it needs to be able to be done. So there are 14 minutes. Let me come back over here. There are 14 minutes to take 1% of your time to think, 7 minutes in the evening and 7 minutes in the morning. In the morning, you take those 7 minutes and you choose the reality of how long each one of these things is going to take. Pick up the dry cleaning. We underestimate how long things are going to take. You may have written down, okay, that'll take 15 minutes, but you got to put drive time in there. And by taking the 7 minutes in the morning, you can realistically say, okay, that's going to take 45 minutes. Start the marketing budget. That's something I can't even do, but I can begin to plan for 1 hour. And by saying realistically, I can plan for 1 hour, I can break that down into 20-minute segments. I can do that. But there's no way I could start and finish the marketing plan. I can attend the 11 a.m. meeting. That's going to take 45 minutes. This would take 40 days for me to do. And yet we put it on our to-do list. This might take 15 minutes. John, I know how long you and I talk. This will probably take 45 minutes. Pick up the milk. People think that's going to not take any time at all, but think through that. Yes, it's an action. It's something you're going to do, but grocery shopping for me is a social activity. I drive to the grocery store. That takes 20 minutes. I get in the grocery store. I run into a gazillion friends. I talk, and then I have to drive back home. And by the way, as soon as I get to the checkout list, I forget that I need bread and soda and whatever else, and it ends up taking me 1.5 hours to get the milk. Overnighting the package really may only take me 15 minutes. I've just got to address it. Review the expense report. Again, that's going to take several days. And in order to review it, I need other people. So it is just not, it just isn't, it's not something you can actually do. Draft the proposal, again, as a project. And you, in order to do almost all of these things, you have to know the goal. You have to know what's the outcome of what you want to happen. You need to know the timeline, who needs to be involved, and the deadline. You have to come in and create concrete goals for when, where, who, how. And this is what we come into. This is what we started with today. This is such a reality of what an actual to-do list looks like. It's ridiculous to think that we can get all of this or any of this done because they're not actionable. They're not something you can do. They're merely labels on a piece of paper that you have prioritized. Pick up the milk with creating the marketing budget. That's frightening to me. Your list of things that are going to move your life forward have created no priority because you put these things on a piece of paper, and in your mind, you've said picking up the milk is just as important as starting the 2017 marketing budget. there's a huge disconnect between putting something on your to-do list. I look at these things every day, and this is a problem I face. When I even look at something like this, there's just kind of this gut reaction. There's this gut reaction to a problem. Because when we do something, it requires moving. It physically requires either picking something up and writing in it, or typing something, or taking something, or talking about something. Those are the actions, physical action. You have to think about it, pick something up, do, move, talk. In action, in doing, you move. The whole body moves. And when you move, the actual word from motivation comes from moving. You're going to be more motivated with everything you take action on, and instead of doing, you get to done. Going from doing to done and getting the check mark is why the 7-minute life exists. We want to take things from this huge scope of non-committal to-do lists where Milk and create the budgeting for the marketing report are on the same level, and there's no commitment because they're not actionable. They're projects. They're nothing more than labels on a sheet of paper that don't get done, and the reality of the outcome is stress, anxiety, depression, lack of time with your family, no time to exercise, and no time to sleep. Every day we wake up with a to-do list, and every day we fail. And I look at my own life and I think how painful failure is. And we think it's a little thing not to pick up the milk. But even something that small can say, I didn't do what I said I would do today. It just didn't happen. And why do I tell you about all this? Because I'm busy. I'm a busy person. I've had a very successful career in corporate America. And for 30 years, I had a to-do list like this. And for 30 years, I didn't get it all done. And let me tell you my own personal story. If you're watching these very often, you know that all of this somehow, list after list after list, pile of things that are not done, they overwhelmed me like a darkness, and I suffered from depression. And I really want to be authentic in all of this. Time management affects everything about your mental health. This simple to-do list, when you get home and you finish the day and you put your seatbelt on and you're driving home, you're already thinking about to-dos to put on your list for tomorrow when you didn't get the things done today. And what happens is that list begins to talk to you, and it does this. Your list from today grabs hold of you and says, how dare you think of things to do tomorrow when you didn't even complete the things you said you'd do today? And it talks to you. Now, I hope I'm not making this stuff up, but day after day of not meeting your own personal commitments definitely has caused me a battle with anxiety, stress, and depression. And I know I'm not the only one out there. What's the reason I focus on the 7-minute life, and why is time management so important to me? Because people want their lives back. Do they want to get all these things done? Absolutely. Do they have time to do them? I think you can see now. No. These to-do lists are nothing but problems that we cause in our own life. We've got to do a much better job of planning. And all that I'm asking you to do is to come into your day and take 7 minutes with a piece of paper. Whoop, let me see if I can find this. Got to go to the pen. Hang on. To really and truly try to increase your quality of life by taking 7 minutes in the evening and 7 minutes in the morning. out of 1,440 minutes, I'm asking you to take 1% of your time to think. And when you think, you can think about what's most important. Part of the 7-minute life is helping people narrow down to become aware of how little time we have, and how to then create true priorities using a real timeline of how many hours you have, because nothing on this list talks about your family. Nothing on this list talks about your faith. Nothing on this list talks about your exercise or your nutrition or your sleep or your hobbies or living a life you love. That's why I'm passionate about helping share ideas, why it's really dangerous. I wasn't kidding when I said the 9 most dangerous words in time management are, oh, let me put that on my to-do list, for yet another commitment that will not be kept, that will cause stress, anxiety, and depression. So we want to move forward from that, and I think what is going to help is to create that daily written plan of action. And we've created a page that you can download for free called the Daily Progress Report. This is something I created almost a decade ago because I needed something that could help me track my day. And this is really where the 7-minute life started. I needed one piece of paper that functioned kind of like a to-do list, but then I could narrow it down. So what you would do is that you would start with your to-do list. Well, this is really hard to do, in case you want to know. You create your to-do list at night, and you write down the things that you really do need to do. A to-do list is the first part of time management. It has got to come out of your unreliable brain, which have 5 seconds to 26 seconds to capture something, or it will be gone, kind of like an eraser on a dry erase board. You think you know it, but I do this all the time. I'll have to walk back into my office to remember why I was leaving my office. That's how short our memory is. So you start, again, I'm reiterating these things because I want to write them down. You start by taking 7 minutes in the evening and creating your to-do list. If you have time that night, you break those things down into actions and projects. And then you look at these things that are on your to-do list and you try to see how long they will take. What amount of time will they take? And is it something you can do? And how long will that take? And my guess is you'll have too many things that seem important that really need to be done, then you have time to do them. So what do? After you create your to-do list, there are going to be things that you've broken down into projects, and we call that creating a 5 before 11 list. And this is, again, back on the Daily Progress Report. You can probably, oh, hang on, I got to turn on this pen. I hope it's helpful for me to be able to write on these things. When you download this, and I'll tell you how right now, you're going to go to our website. Good gracious, the 7-minute life.com/tools. Or you can just go to the navigation bar and download the Daily Progress Report. There's a free sample for you to download. And if nothing else happens today, I just want you to see this top part, 5 before 11. What will I do 5 before 11? And here's why that's so important. I want people to do things, and you can clearly see here, what will I do? Not will I have as a list on a project. A lot of people take this 5 before 11 and they put projects on it. They'll put start the marketing report budget. They'll put review proposal. They'll put all these things that they can't do And again, this just becomes a to-do list for even a lot of people that are involved with the 7-minute life. But what if, instead of writing down, start the marketing proposal, what about our marketing budget? What have you said, pull last year's marketing budget? Could you do that? Yes, you can physically walk in, pick up the budget, and pull it out. After that, another thing you could do was take, this is really hard to write on, take 20 minutes to review last year's budget. Can you do that? Yes. That's something you can do, very simple things that we come in and we call micro actions. A micro action is something you can accomplish within 2 seconds to 20 minutes. And if you can narrow down what's on your to-do list into micro actions, tiny, tiny steps, and you put them on this daily progress report, which again looks like this, and you have one sheet of paper, and you write down the things that you're going to do, and the next day you walk in and you, good gracious, I need the pen. Okay, so we go back, play from current slide, go back up. What if you came in with this, nothing but a 5 before 11 list, and you came in and you did this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one? What does that do to you emotionally? You've made commitments to do things. The 5 before 11 list are 5 things you can do before 11 o'clock. Except people ask me, is that 11 a.m. or 11 p.m.? And for me, it's 11 p.m. But the point of it is, if you could do 5 things before 11 a.m. or 11 p.m., what would happen? If you only accomplish 5 things before 11 o'clock, in a week, you would have accomplished 35 high-value to-dos that you would have moved from to-do to done. When you break them down into small enough pieces, can you imagine accomplishing 35 things that were important, that moved you forward? When you do, remember, doing is moving forward, and moving forward causes motivation to do and do. And it all starts with thinking, writing down a to-do list, creating the actions rather than the projects, putting them on this 5 before 11 list and marking them off one at a time. Let's take it out beyond 1 week. What if you chose to use a tool like this for 90 days? Taking 7 minutes in the evening and 7 minutes in the morning to think, and that you created just one little thing. In 90 days, you would have accomplished 450 actions that you went from to do to done. What's the outcome of that? The outcome of going from to done, 450 things by just doing tiny little micro actions, is enormous. Now, I told you in the beginning that I really believe this is something that is life altering. And because I believe that, I want to let you know the tools we have. I used to feel bad about letting people know what we have, but my guess is if you want to go snow skiing, you want skis. So you go to Amazon, you type it in, and you buy the skis. People want better time management. They want to do something for themselves. So more than anything else, we've created things like the 7-Minute Life System, which you can see here has all kinds of things in it. It's got books, and it's got all of our books. It's got 4 planners, which look like this. It's a whole year. It's got CD training. It's got all of that. But I realized that even though we have those things, that we have the planners and a copy of my books and strategic business plan templates, I think what people really want is they even want additional training. So because you've stayed on here, and I don't feel bad at all, because I do think people want things that can help them. Today we've added the goal setting classes. These are $100 each, which would make this $297 plus $99 plus $99, bought all this, it'd be $497. I believe wholeheartedly in this. And I think if you've shown up today to learn about to do, and the only thing that we've done today is help you understand what a to-do list is, what the problems are, understanding the difference between actions and projects, and how to use a 5 before 11 list, then my guess is that's not the only thing you want to learn. That you want to learn about goal setting. You want to learn about purpose and priorities. You want to learn about how you can reconnect with life. This is everything we have. Everything. And instead of $497, I am going to sell it for $199. $497 to $199. I hope that's really affordable for people. Now, there's a twist because this is a to-do, and I know how to-dos are. If you put it on your to-do list right now to take action sometime later in the day, it's not going to get done. It's 5 minutes till 1. I'm going to stay here for question and answer. John, if you'll talk to Pam, who's on the line with John, I'll answer all the questions you have. I'll answer questions about what we've talked about today, anything else that you have. But if you want this product, if you want to save, I don't know, almost $200, I need you to go to the 7minutelife.com/save. And I'm only going to give you until the end of the question and answer plus 15 minutes. So I don't know how long the question and answer is going to last, but I know that this is where people want to go. I know that people want more. Today is awesome. I want to be able to help people break things down. I want them to get out of the depression. I want them to have less anxiety and stress. And I want them to have an understanding of their priorities, what's most important to them, and their purpose in life. Because poor time management rips all of that away from you. And I used to think, wow, why am I selling something on a webinar? Because I'm selling something because you're here because you need it. You want it. I'm trying to help by giving almost a 50% discount. I really hope that people will go right now and go in and buy this. Why? What is the 7-Minute Life System? It is a video series that has 2 hours and 2.5 hours of training, just like this from me. It's broken down into 12-minute, 10-minute segments. You'll be able in 2.5 hours, not just to find out about to-do lists, but to find out about all the things that draw you closer to becoming the person you want to be. You can kind of see the little CDs here. It has all of the books. This is what I use. This planner is what has the daily progress report in it. This is where the 5 before 11 is. This is a 90-day book. The system is going to come with 4 planners. It's going to have a copy of my book, The 7-Minute Solution, The 7-Minute Difference. And it's going to have 2 brand new classes that are $99 each on how to set goals. And that's a 2-hour class. And then how to have time management strategies, a blueprint to productivity. All of these things together retail for $497. And during the question and answer, which I'm going to open in just a minute, during that time, you can get your credit card and buy this. If it's something that you don't like, I'll give you all your money back. You know, this is not something that needs to be hard. And all you have to do is go to the 7minutelife.com/save. You should see a buy button. And then probably tomorrow, you'll receive all the online training. And in the mail, you'll receive all the physical books. You'll receive the binder, the planners, the CDs, the DVDs, all of the books. And so now,
Do you need a coupon code?
No, you do not need a coupon code. Great question. I've already discounted it on this page. When you hit buy, it should be $199. I wanted to make it easy rather than making it another to-do. So Pam, will you look at the chat? If people go to the 7minutelife.com/save and click on buy now, are people seeing it at the $199 price? There should be no coupon code needed. Is that a yes or a no? Haven't heard. Okay, let's put it in the chat. Do you need a coupon? Yes,
John checked it.
John checked it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to question and answers. And I'm here for the next 20 or 30 minutes, and then it will still just ordered, easy peasy. Thanks, Suzanne. I'm going to stay here. John, you may need to write down, and Pam, the questions, because the chat goes by so quickly. I'm going to be glad to stay here 15, 20, 30 minutes, and then you'll still have a window of 15 minutes only to take advantage of this offer. I do want to say, let me move my chat box. I do want to say, too, that we're doing this again tonight at 7:30. I'm going to close down the sale. And if you have other people that really need to hear about to-dos, the only way we're going to share this message in a bigger scope is for you to send that link that you got and have people register. We've had hundreds of people register. So I'm going to open it up to questions. Pam, if you and John, and I'll watch as well, what questions do we have? And I'm going to be patient here. Everybody's gone to get their credit card. I know that. I do want to say thanks for being here. John, do you have any questions while everybody's ordering? John is the person that has heard the questions before. So John, if you'll type in what questions people have. I used to think it was uncomfortable to wait, but I think people are taking action. This is something they can do. They can invest in themselves. They can learn about purpose and priorities. Talk about the app. Okay. The app is the 7-minute app is available on the iPhone App Store. You can go there by going to the iPhone App Store and searching for 7-minute planner. John, will you put in 7-minute planner? That's the type and the name of the app. It's $2.99 per month. And it's actually this daily planner. It's the whole thing. It's this planner in an app. It's in this. It's $2.99. I'll actually be glad for you to stay on the line as we go through, and I'll actually answer those. Suzanne says, a lot of my to-dos are things like work on X novel and work on Y novel. Yes, I'm a writer. These are huge projects with easily thousands of actions. Do I keep the thousands of actions somewhere else, or do I take one action at a time? Suzanne, those are things that I face in the future. I'm a writer as well. And being a writer is just one of those things like being a CEO of a company. There are so many things. And so one of the things that I do is I either have somebody that's an accountability partner like John, or I have an executive coach, which I have one right now that's helping me. I know that sounds crazy because I'm an executive coach, but I have a coach. And during that process, I have to think out loud. When I write a book, I have to bounce things off someone because I can go into a little cubby hole and try to concentrate, but I can only concentrate for 20 minutes at a time. So I think one of the things you can do is sit down with someone that's an accountability partner that maybe isn't even involved in writing and brainstorm all those things through. I use a whiteboard, but I think if you make this big mind map and have them put in inputs, then you can, over the next several weeks, because a book is an enormous project, or you could break it into big projects and then work on one big project at a time. I always start with the table of contents, then I write the chapters, then I write the introduction, then I write the conclusion, and then I come up with a title. So I know that sounds backwards, but I think the best way is to hire some kind of executive coach that can walk you through those types of things. Android. The Android app will be coming out probably in the next 9 to 12 months. We are really finding out that there are a lot of things that people want. They want it to be able to synchronize with their iPad, which we've just fixed. So if you put something in, it'll come back to your iPad. They want training. They want a lot of additional pieces where they can put things into their worksheets and actually type them out or print them out. So there are several things that are coming. And once we finish with the iPhone app, we will be able to transfer all of those upgrades into the Android app. And a lot of people listen to these from all over the world, and we understand that primarily overseas there are a ton of Android users as well as in the US.
They'd like, Jennifer would like to see 2 sections of 5 before 11, one for AM and one for PM.
Oh, that's a great idea. Jennifer says she'd like to see 2 sections for 5 before 11. So that'd be 5 things to complete before 11 a.m. and 5 things to complete before 11 p.m. Is that Jennifer that said that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jennifer, if you'll send me an email after that, I would like to follow up with you. One of the things we're really doing is opening the gates to have access to me. The 7-Minute Life is something that came out of my head, and I don't know what people need. That's one of the best ideas I've ever heard. So if you'll send an email to info@the7minutelife.com, I'd love to visit with you personally. I'd love for you to take a piece of paper and kind of draw out what you'd like, the theory, tell us how we can help. And if there are other of you on the line, please contact me at info@the7minutelife.com. Tell us your ideas of how we can make things better. Share your ideas for the app. And plus, I think it's just really cool to think of people and get to know them better. Next question. I like that idea to have a master plan per book to pull steps from is a great idea. Here, as I put that down, this is something that I've just created. This is a template for life. And this is a piece that will be going on our tools page. Let me stop sharing my screen. Has everybody got that? The 7minutelife.com/save. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can show you this. Can you see me now, Pam?
Mm-hmm.
Am I still looking good in pink?
Mm-hmm.
Is my hair still good? This is something I've just created that is something I wanted. It's a timeline for life. And what this allows, I'm trying to see what it is. What it allows me to do is look out 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, and I can put the dates in so that this doesn't become stale. And I can plan out what my master plan is. Do I want to write another book? Do I want to get in better shape? How old will my children be 5 years from today? What do I want my finances to look like? And then I've added down year 6, year 7, year 8, year 9, year 10, and then 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And then I got to a place where people are so old, really, are they going to live to be 60 years from now? And I put rest of life. Yeah. So I think this is something, Jennifer, that's going to be really helpful just to get that 50,000-foot view of what you want your life to look like. And I know a lot of people are out there. I think it was Suzanne that said writing books. A lot of people want to write books. Well, how do you do that? You create something like this that says, okay, on a certain year, I'm going to write my book. But this is something that came out of my head. If there are tools that you think would be helpful to other people that visit our site, The 7-Minute Life, we create these. I create them, I don't know, a couple of months. So is this something that would be helpful to people? Is this something you'd like to have as a timeline template for life? Let's see. Okay, there are 2 new messages that I'm seeing. John, are you also looking where people are raising their hand? I see a lot of people raising their hand. Who else here is a writer? Yeah, I'd like to know that. We've got some people raising their hand, John. If you can go into where it says question and answer, or if the person raising their hand can click on the button that says chat, and put their question in chat. We still have a lot of people on the line. Bobby Grand says, I'm a writer among other things, and writers always want to spend money on solutions rather than writing. Boy, is that true. I have looked at a lot of places to find things to make life easier, but to take that to-do list, I can't write all day long. People ask me how I write my books. I write them 800 words at a time. That's about all I can do, is I sit down at my computer, good or bad, and I write 800 words, which is probably less than 2 pages a day. And over time, those books begin to take life. And as those 800 words come out, they get tighter and tighter and tighter. And so I believe they're life-changing. The 7-minute solution is something that has changed people's lives. And it took a long time to consolidate those things, 800 words at a time. Jennifer says, I have a 100-page paper to finish by missions degree. I finished classwork in 2005. Oh my goodness, 100-page paper, 800 words at a time is very doable. Great writing tip, yes, the free Pomodoro timer. The one that I use is called the tomatotimer.com, and it is the Pomodoro theory. It's just kind of fun, the tomato timer. I am in as a participant, so I don't see all the questions that are raised hands. I'm afraid to go away from this. I see WC has raised his hand. If you can find the chat, if you'll put that question into chat, that would be very helpful. It's now 1:10. If there are more questions, I'm happy to stay here. I want to make sure that people have had a chance to go to the 7minutelife.com/save. To invest in themselves, $199, I know that that is a deal. And I really today think to-do lists are important, but it's only the top of the iceberg. Who else? Keith asked, did I miss the answer? I asked before, does the 7-minute app work in conjunction with a paper system, or would you suggest using paper or the app? Great question, Keith. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, Jeff called me. And one of the things that Jeff wants is for the app to sync with the iPad, to sync with my Mac. And by syncing with the Mac, it's going to take away a lot of the tiny typing into it. The younger people want the app. The younger people want all of those things. The beauty of the app is that it's always with you, and it's in the palm of your hand or on your iPad, and you can add things to it. When I use the app, rather than typing, I pull up what I want to do, I hit the microphone, and I speak things into it. So the to-do list would go on something called the unfinished task list, and you can move them from the day into the 5 before 11, and you can also learn how to break those down into projects. So the paper, which is what I'm still primarily using, I like to have the 5 before 11 for the reminders and to have it in one place with me, but I still like the paper. We're going to have both. I love the paper product, and I think the younger people are going to really love having something they can use as a smartphone. Greetings from Chile. Well, that's cool. Keith says, thank you for all the work you guys and resources you are creating. I really appreciate you being here. Are there any other questions? I'm happy to answer them. And we still have a lot of people here. I see a couple of people are still raising their hand. I think that's under the Q&A. If they will go to the chat, if you hover your mouse over the window, you will see chat. And if you'll type your questions into chat, I'll be glad to answer them. If there are people that would like to talk to us about ideas that they have, please email me at info@the7minutelife.com. I'm sure that a lot of you are buying the system that we have on sale. Suzanne says, thanks so much. I'm off to get rid of those labels that are bulging on my to-do list. You know, how y'all can help us is share the message. Tell people what we're doing. Ask them to come tonight. We have hundreds of people that are signing up, but we'd love to have thousands of people sign up. And you guys are awesome. I've built a lot of relationships with people. This is my purpose in life. This is the most fun I have, is talking to people and sharing ideas. And they say, please leave some paper about this because I arrived late. We will have a recording. We will be sending that out to you in about 2 days. I know that a lot of you are ordering our product. It will be sent to you tomorrow or the next day, and the physical products will be shipped after that. Just want to set those expectations. But please follow us on Facebook, follow me on LinkedIn, and tell us what you need. This is a community of friends. Super excited. I do act as an executive coach. It's $400 an hour. If there's some of you that want to have this on a personal basis, I will teach you. You know, $400 an hour, I don't think that. If people are looking for speakers to come in, I'm happy to come do this. This is really important stuff. So we have all that. I think we're about to wrap up. John, are there any other questions? Do you have any other words of wisdom for people? I'm really glad all of you were here, and thanks for the interaction. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. It's 1:15. You'll have until 1:30 to place your order, and it's at the 7minutelife.com/save. So I want to say thank you to everyone. It's been awesome. I'm really glad you're here, and please tell your friends about tonight. This is Allyson Lewis with the 7-Minute Life. You can come see us at the 7minutelife.com. We have lots of stuff. And make sure you stay connected to find out about our other webinars that are coming up, and let us know what topics you want us to talk about. So glad you were here. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.